All right, hold on 1 second while I try to get this loaded in. Haha. There we go. That's what I get for sitting in a chair that doesn't work anymore. Wow, like the quality has actually massively changed now. Holy shit. Maybe be sitting in my old school phone. Cool. All right. Let's just see if this is all working. I know the lighting's a little bit like out there, but there, that's better. Okay. So just to be sure, can everyone or anyone hear me? I just want to make sure of that before we get started. Chelsea, so you're here and you can hear me. All right. That's cool. And in case no one shows up, it's okay because, like I said, I got stuff I want to talk about, and well, it's a bit of a subject. So before we do that, I'd just like to say I was going to put the editing part where I said this has a product placement. So brought to you by Heineken. Drink responsibly. Don't ever drink and drive. I say that in every stream whenever time I drink a beer. So I love Heineken. Lemmy, how you doing, buddy? Appreciate you here, man. Let's see. I gotta really get used to this whole green screen thing. And as a matter of fact, before we get on to that, I'm actually downloading some like an app on my phone to see if I can actually get this whole chroma key thing to work with the screen. So it may not be able with this. I'll try to work on that later on, but I'll try to do it with the phone with experimentation. So we'll probably get like a bit of a change here soon once I get everything set and done. See, I can't even adjust the camera because anywhere I put this, it's just going to get in the way. So if I try moving that all the way, it's not going to fit. Or maybe it does. It's just I have to have the camera set here. The reason why, well, because the tweets that Mark Hamill sent out, I responded to with an agreement, and that's when I got slammed by a lot of let's just say malicious right wingers. Let's say that. So basically, it started on when Mark Hamill tweeted, about the whole Oscars and all that. Which to me, it wasn't mainly about the Oscars. I've kept my mouth shut about Trump for a long time, and I don't ride the bandwagon. And I'm not saying this is a bandwagon, but like I've never really kind of like touched the subject. All right, I'll catch you later in a moment, Chelsea. I've really quite delved into my own personal perspectives on Trump. I never have. I'm really hesitant about it because pretty much the hesitation and the fear kind of came true. But you know what? Thinking about it, you got to say, fuck it. You want to speak your mind out? You speak your mind out. Now, it goes to also show that in some areas of this little debacle that I got in on Twitter, I mean, it was pretty much imploding. Like the whole thing was kind of expanding out because a whole lot of people, either for one, were kind of telling me this. The other side was also telling me, well, guess what? I support evil or whatnot because I happen to disagree. Now, before I get into that whole entire area of argumentation, I need to also make it completely clear because a whole lot of people, including specifically right-wingers, don't understand the concept of just because if you agree with somebody doesn't necessarily mean you like them, which now I know that's a little bit to go along in the case because I respect Mark Hamill and I think he's a cool dude. He's one of my heroes. I respect him as an actor. I also respect him for what he does. Yes, I don't even like Clinton either. I think she's a horrible candidate for presidency. Now, like I said, I respect Mark Hamill in his position as an actor and all that. I respect him in all aspects. Now, I may disagree with him politically on a few things, but that doesn't mean that I don't like him. Now, contrary to what I'm saying to this, as opposed to right-wingers, I also wanted to make that clear that just because if I agree with somebody does not automatically assume that I am a Democrat or I'm a leftist. I want to make that completely clear because on Twitter, they couldn't seem to grasp the point. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys should be able to see a lot of the conversations on that. I can't really show it on here. I'm going to have to read them to you. But there is something I do need to go over, because to this extent, I do owe some of the people that I had an argument with, to an extent of an apology. Why is that? Well, let's see that. So we're going to go over to where I actually first went. Actually, I got it screenshot, so I'll just go there. So the first tweet that Mark Hamill actually made, or pretty much retweeting at this point, which is pretty much a quote from Spike Lee, and Spike Lee is that area. My political party is independent and centrist, so I hold the balanced belief between Democratic and Republic. So that's the sort of area and issue I have, because certain people can't grasp the fact that just because I agree with someone who either is Democratic doesn't mean that I am Democratic. To that extent, I hold both views into that moral compass. And yes, I do agree, Hollywood is full of leftists too. But no disrespect to Mark Hamill, because I think he's a cool dude. Now, I know some people out there too that respectfully disagree with me, and I am okay with that. I respect what you feel about that. I've had conversations with some of my friends about it. So I want to make that completely clear, and I want to thank you guys out there, Facebook, everywhere, who have talked to me about this. Thank you for talking to me about this civilly. I highly respect that. So to any Democrats or Republicans out there who also respectfully disagree or agree, thank you for being civil about that. I appreciate that. I appreciate the civilness and the patience that you have with me, despite whatever beliefs or disbeliefs or disagreements or agreements that we have. I appreciate that. I want to make that clear. Chelsea, that's actually the main issue I have with people on Twitter, is that, yeah, not everyone will get butthurt over a disagreement, but that's kind of what we're going to go over here, because there's a lot of shit, and some of this is my fault too, because I really butchered this on context. I didn't make my context very clear, but we'll get into that in just a sec. So the tweet that was made by Spike Lee, which Mark Hamill pretty much quoted, in quotations, the 2020 election is around the corner. Let's all mobilize. Let's all be on the right side of history. Make the moral choice between love versus hate. Let's do the right thing, which is a quote by Spike Lee. And pretty much in the hashtags, Oscars, fire the divider in chief, hashtag dump Trump 2020. Trust me, it's going to get weird. But let's see if I can actually find it. And I say like in not in quotations, but I actually tweeted to Mark Hamill, was like, I agree. This is where I butchered the context. I agree that President Trump is nowhere near qualified to be president. That's where I kind of messed up, and that's pretty much how the whole entire heat is coming along, because of what I said. However, because of that, I had people tell me, well, he is president. Obviously, he's qualified. He's an American citizen, and pretty much he's over a certain age. Okay, yes, fine. I butchered that. I screwed up on that, and to that, I apologize for that. However, unfortunately, I do not believe that would have changed the outcome, the scenario, or changed even the percentage of heat that I was going to get from that if I actually just changed it up and said, I believe Trump is a horrible, terrible president in my own opinion. I don't think that it would have changed the outcome, or it wouldn't have changed the amount of backlash or whatnot that I'm getting, which this isn't really damage control in a certain way, but I like to respond to this because some of these tweets were absolutely fucking stupid. But let me see if I could just go back and find all of it, because it's really, really, really going to be like bad. So I'm going to scroll through. And we'll get into this tweet, because that tweet was the most idiotic tweet I have ever received in my life in regards of politics. A lot of people also arguing back and forth with each other just because of what they believe. So, and there was one person who at first I thought I was going to be a little bit hostile with, but we ended up you know, civilly hashing that stuff out. And I do appreciate that person for doing all of that. And they were also taunting the MAGA stuff at me, you know, the Make America Great Again, which I don't care if you want to post Make America Great Again. If you want to wear it, that's fine. I got no issue or any conflict with that. Some people will take it as offensive because they are whiny SJW bitches and they're too pussy whipped to understand that freedom of expression is pretty much what goes on in the world. And just because if someone likes Trump or someone likes Hillary, which I fucking despise the both of them, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to judge somebody as evil or bad or stupid because he believes something. It's the problem with this age nowadays. You talk about one thing, somebody gets offended over it, and all of a sudden you're the bad guy. I can't even go all the way down because this thing has blown up so much. So, okay, here we go. So I say to Mark Hamill, I say this. So I say, I'm with you there, Master Hamill, because that's pretty much supposed to be Star Wars related. Trump is nowhere qualified to be president. Again, that's where I butchered the context, and that's where I screwed up a bit. But again, I can't really blame myself because I'm pretty sure that none of that would have made a difference. He is president. There's that from a person named, you know, we'll call him Mr. G because I can't use the pronunciation of it because it matches up to where the criteria of YouTube would say, no, you can't do that. I say he sure doesn't act like one, so there's that. So from what I say is true from a certain point of view. Again, context is a little butchered on that, but I wanted to quote Obi-Wan Kenobi from that because I say he doesn't really act like a president from my own point of view as a centrist. But it gets really bad. So it goes, okay, so this other guy comes over and he says, oh, you call him Master Hamill, put your lightsaber down, your mom is calling you for dinner, which I don't understand what the point of that was. I don't even know where that went. Because what? I happen to speak my own mind out about something. Now, this is the point where it gets really retarded because I got someone who quoted at me saying that my own opinions do not matter with facts and all this other shit, which we'll get into the facts here in just a second. And the person tells me that, oh, it's the left that usually block all the people before they do anything, which on the contrary, I got blocked about 16 people, 16, and one of them wouldn't even let me speak. He actually just decided to go on this other tirade. He says, oh, okay, right, moron. I guess you missed the old days of your white guilt and Obama. Like that's supposed to mean anything. I don't even like Obama, too. I thought he was a shit president. And before I even got a chance to even say anything, especially civilly, I got blocked. So I like the whole comment about, oh, well, the left are the people that usually blocked, even though I got blocked from about, what, 7 to 16 fucking right-wingers because I happen to speak my mind out about something. I speak my own personal opinion. What kind of bullshit is that? You know, just because I speak my opinion about something doesn't mean that you need to either get offended or get personal about. Oh, because you think I'm a Democrat or you think I side with leftists because I happen to say that Donald Trump is a horrible fucking president in my own opinion. Fuck that. There's more. There is a shit ton I can cover over this. Facts don't care about your opinion nor your feelings, and it's usually the left that blocks the truth. That was the tweet that I just covered. The right, it's usually the left that blocks the truth. Okay, so what does that mean? So if I get blocked by the right, that doesn't mean shit, but if I'm blocked by the left, that's supposed to mean something? Oh yeah, that brings me to my other points. Like, you know, I got nothing personal against Obama, but maybe I don't think that he was actually a good president at all. But again, nothing personal. Again, it's also with Donald Trump. Nothing personal to him. I just don't think he knows how to run a fucking country. Does that mean, though, that in certain aspects that whatever he's good at, I'm going to just dismiss? No. And we'll get into that in just a second. And I say, I don't agree with Trump, but it doesn't automatically make me leftist. You should learn more about me before you start judging. Because people started to assume that, oh, because I spoke my mind out, I'm a leftist or a Democrat. Even though countless times I've been saying, hey, hello, dummy. I'm a centrist. I'm an independent. I'm speaking my own point of view. Come on. Oh, gosh. So, and they wanted to keep quoting the whole Obama thing was with me. Yada, yada. Now, this one I really have to respond about. So this guy, who I'll just name as Mr. H, says to me, yet he's lowered unemployment, created over 500,000 manufacturing jobs, that your jug-eared messiah said a lot of those jobs are never coming back, so qualified. Well, technically, none of those jobs are coming back. Let's see. We have Kmart, we have Sears, we have Toys R Us. Those manufacturing jobs ain't fucking coming back anytime soon. So how the fuck did we actually go from saying that, oh, well, what, Mark Hamill was wrong about the fact that jobs aren't coming back? Again, Sears, Toys R Us. What else is actually gone? Kmart. Any other manufacturing job behind anything in retail? And yes, more of a businessman. But that's a little bit ironic because isn't part of being a businessman in part of business, like in, for example, retail? Those jobs ain't coming back. They're gone. If anything, maybe Donald Trump should have invested in some of those businesses that were going to go out of business. Just speaking a personal point of view here, it's not a fact, but in my own personal opinion, maybe saving those jobs, maybe buying those companies would have actually helped. Yeah, maybe you have a monopoly on that, but still. So who comes to me and tells me, oh, manufacturing jobs, they're coming around? Really? Okay, well, that kind of explains a lot of the unemployment that we still have in the country. We still have a lot of homeless people that are still out there. When are we taking care of them? Oh, no, yeah, we're focusing on the fucking wall, which to that extent, I do agree with it, but I don't think that all of the thought process was into it because that's also regarding in taxes. And another thing I got to bring up. And again, he wants to use the hashtag walk away, vote your mind, not to your celebrities. Well, I agreed with a celebrity, just like Donald Trump is a celebrity because he's not only a president, but he had his own fucking like Apprentice TV show. So yeah, you were also agreeing with your apprentice, Mr. H. You're agreeing with your own celebrity too, because he's also a president. Which I'm not saying you're just speaking because your celebrity tells you to. I spoke my mind because I agreed with somebody. Doesn't matter if he's a celebrity. If I agreed with random person number one that I think that Donald Trump's a horrible fucking president, I'm going to say he's a horrible fucking president. It doesn't matter. Brings me to my next one. Here's this one right here. This one's going to give a big shocker to you. But let me read this real quick. Let's see. Are you regarding Mr. JC? He tells me, I don't see how someone can be against Korea denuclearized, ISIS defeated, troops out of the Middle East, record low unemployment for minorities, record low poverty, booming economy, secure borders, has done everything of his campaign promises. This man wants to tell me that I am against all of those things. So again, he wants to tell me I'm against Korea being denuclearized, ISIS defeated. Problem number one is that Korea is not denuclearized. ISIS is not fucking defeated because there are still bits and pieces and remnants of ISIS roaming around Syria. How are you going to tell me ISIS is defeated when we don't actually have all of the particular pieces to back that up? Sure, maybe a majority or a big piece of ISIS was taken out, but they weren't all taken out. Isn't that what President Trump kind of vowed? Still hasn't done it yet, which I'm not going to discredit. Maybe he did a good job of that, but he didn't wipe them all out. Problem number two, Korea is not denuclearized. The only thing in which the good credit, though, that I will give him is that he ended the stalemate between North and South Korea. Just because you end a stalemate does not mean that you pretty much turned off the nuclear switch between two countries. That is not how that fucking works. And again, speaking from a centrist, independent view, just because you pretty much factor in peace between two countries does not mean that you are going to take their fucking weapons away. Did we forget the Cold War history? Russia and America? Yeah, right? Let's just spy on each other instead of pointing weapons at each other. Let's just spy, okay? Just because North Korea and South Korea are like good buddies does not mean that all is well with North Korea. Splinter, and that's another thing. Splinter groups. You still have subgroups from a part of ISIS. Just because you eliminate one group doesn't mean you eliminate the other. Older style Democratic version that makes sense. My mom had a track. That's another thing I also want to bring up before I get into the other points. Is like most of my family is a Republican area. You know, my grandparents are Republican. My dad and my mom are, I guess they are Republican, but they even agree that Trump is a piece of shit. And they are Republican. Which I'm going to tell you, all you malicious right-wingers need to get your fucking head out of your ass. And don't get me wrong. Leftists on the other side, they need to get their head out of their asses too, okay? I'm not going to just factor one person over the other. I mean, both sides, yeah, you both need to get your heads out of your asses, but in that area. Troops out of the Middle East. Well, I support our troops. My family happens to be, pretty much a military family. My younger cousin who happens to be in the military, ironic because, I'm not in the military. I'm kind of like in my own individual heart for serving my own country in case anything happens. Number two on that one is that my grandfather was also a Vietnam vet. Two of my mom's cousins, that technically makes it my second cousin, I guess, or I could be wrong. No. Let's just say it's my mom's cousins. They also served in the military. They know what the fuck they're doing. And I support them like I support my cousin just like I support the troops. And I support every single troop that has dedicated their life out there. Some of my best friends pretty much that are subscribed to me are on Facebook and Twitter. They're actually serving their country too. Does it not mean that I support them either? Let's see. I wasn't really a fan of Bush either, but Let's go to another one. Record low for unemployment for minorities. Good luck with that one. That's so fucking highly debatable. Just there's no need. Record low poverty and booming economy, which I'm going to mix those two together. Booming economy? Did you not talk to other people about how their taxes were? Everyone else that I knew had their taxes raised 22%. They're practically owing. They're not getting anything back. They're owing. They owe the government 22% more of what they usually pay. So how the fuck can you tell me on this that the economy is boosting when the stock market area, for some regards, is going down, and more people like myself, as maybe middle or lower class, and others have to pay more than what we're getting back? Now, it's a little tiny bit fortunate for me that I'm technically only getting $500 rather than paying about maybe 50 or to 100 instead. But for everyone else, they're not getting anything back. They have to pay like 50, 500, maybe even 1,000. So for that whole economy bullshit, you can throw that one out the fucking window because the booming economy isn't really fucking booming, especially because it also defeats the purpose of the manufacturing jobs, being that certain companies can't even go anymore. So how in the hell can you tell me that the economy is boosting when there's fucking not enough jobs to go around? Could you imagine an inflection percentage of jobs that would be increased if the economy itself was booming? And my camera is like being weird. Okay, let's go to another thing. Secure borders. Well, okay, I'm for the fact of secure borders, but did we forget to mention that maybe air smuggling, tunnel digging, and pretty much another way of smuggling can sometimes be attributed to more crime that happens in the south of the fucking border? Oh, gosh. Anti-vaccine people. They're just as big of morons as these malicious right-wingers. And malicious left-wingers, too. Or I call them leftists, but let's see. And has everything done in this campaign. The only thing that he really did, as far as I'm concerned, on promises, by the way, Mr. JC, is that he pretty much only ended the stalemate between North and South Korea. And also, to add on top of that, endangered net neutrality by putting some fuckhead like Ajit Pai on the FCC commission board. Do I think Trump will lose in 2020? My guess is yes. But if he wins, well, then I'm wrong, pretty much. My stance is yes, but I don't want Hillary Clinton on there. I'd rather go with Bernie Sanders. And here's the thing about Bernie Sanders, okay? I want Bernie Sanders to win. I want him to represent the independency. But here is the thing, in reality, we can't get free college. We can't get any of this free shit. That's not how it works. Money has to be a factor into these things if you are going to make it work. You cannot have one thing without the other. Sorry, but that is not realistic. I will vote for Bernie Sanders in regards of independency, in terms of being for presidency in independent terms. But in reality, you must have some sort of economical growth or economical factor into these things of college. Those teachers are getting paid for a reason. You cannot take away that sort of pay from them. That is the sort of thing that we have to focus on. Hell, if you wanted to actually do something, make a campaign for it or a GoFundMe or whatnot. Hell, Donald Trump could have fucking done that rather than actually take taxes out of people to go to his fucking wall. Which I don't know. The only thing I'm just really going to stand for is the independent and conservative view of it. I'm not really for any of these other views for liberal progressivism. I don't know, pretty much the corrupt version of, you could say, of capitalism, because at least with capitalism you get a chance. Qualify this. Oh, you sent me whitehouse.gov. Historical records. Growth policies, all that. 5 million jobs have been created since his election. Unemployment rates below 4%. This is the 8th year in a low. Yeah, okay, well, unexplainably enough, because all the other jobs were pretty much gone. Kmart, Target, not Target, I'm sorry, Toys R Us. Outnumber the unemployed for the first time on record. More than 2/3 of Americans right now. Americans are seeing more money in their pocket. Americans are seeing more money in their pockets thanks to the booming economy. Again, the tax break and shit. Yeah, I'm in a political war. Ironic because I hate political nonsense. African American and Hispanic American poverty rates reached record lows of 21.2% and 18, respectively, in 2017. Since the election, 4.6 Americans have been lifted off of food stamps. Again, what breaks that, what pretty much contradicts that, is the fact, again, when taxes. So people in welfare can pretty much reap the benefits and all that other shit, but middle class and lower class people who are actually trying to pay their taxes have to suffer through that shit, but they can pretty much get away with the benefits. Sorry, I'm not buying it. And just because it comes from whitehouse.gov doesn't mean shit. You can pretty much put any source out there and you can fucking believe it or disbelieve it. So let's see, whitehouse.gov, issued on January 20, 2019. Association health plans, allowing more employees to join together state across. Roughly 800,000 employees are expected to provide HRAs for more than 10 million employees of rural financialized. Okay, well, I'm going to get off of that because I'm not buying a lot of it. Or are they going to get offended by that too? So done with that. And again, this same person by the name of Mr. JC tells me this. This is actually his first tweet to me. The statement shows you either hate good or in denial. No. And let's just even say if some of the other things actually do factor into something he's done good, doesn't mean I need to necessarily agree with everything. Just because it comes from whitehouse.gov doesn't always mean that. I usually like to take a lot of sources with a grain of salt because nowadays, you can't believe anything nowadays. Just because something's posted by a certain somebody from the government doesn't mean you have to believe every single bit of it. And again, benefit of the doubt, some things I could be wrong in. I'm human after all. So, da, 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 da. And they're right about that. Now let's get into the current stuff. Oh, I love this one because this is the part where they actually start, taunting with, the whole MAGA thing. And again, you don't really have to take the entire thing of whitehouse.gov seriously. I don't. I don't really take any source seriously because I don't know what to believe anymore. And there's so we'll refer to this person as Miss RSR10. We'll refer to her as that. And there's 2020. You all be weeping losers again. Hashtag MAGA 2020, which I don't really see how that's going to accomplish anything because you want to hashtag it as some sort of taunt. Coolio. If you want to wear it on your hat, you want to wear it on your shirt, fine, cool. Again, it's not like that certain incident when one guy's yelling at the little kid because he's got that smirk on his face and he's got Make America Great Again. If you want to have that, completely fine. I respect your beliefs of what you want to represent. Freedom of expression, go right ahead. Well, what do you hope to accomplish by taunting people with that? So I say I don't really care about MAGA. That's your right. I got no beef with that. I'm only speaking for what I feel is a centrist and all that other shit. So let me flip this around a little bit and tell you what I want to say. And even if I was wrong about it, I actually still have just as right to feel suspicious of somebody who's actually had a shady tax record history. Again, and we'll talk about Clinton here in just a moment because her ass ain't out of the fucking woods on this shit yet either. For me, you want to know what the scary truth about it is for all you right wingers out there or malicious right wingers? I voted for Trump. Shocker, right? Here's why. It was down to the necessary situation of the lesser of two evils between Hillary and Trump. I wanted to vote for Bernie, but unfortunately, Bernie got kicked out of the poll area before anything else. So it was left with either her or him. I chose Trump because I believed it would be the lesser of two evils. Being that I actually still believe that that is a lesser of two evils, that still doesn't come without these certain regards that I believe that he is not running it the way it should be. That's my criticism. That's my point of view. That's the way I do it. So for any of you guys in the right-wing area, not to all, but to some, who want to get in my face, who want to tell me that I'm just a stupid moron piece of shit because of what I believe, this is for you. Okay? I don't like to get that way. I don't like to get in anybody's face of political, differences and shit like that. But if you have a problem with me because I believe something in what I believe, that is not your problem. That's my problem. Actually, it's not even my problem. That's just my own perspective. And I can change it whenever I want, whenever I feel like it, when I feel like it's necessary. That's my own belief, my own kind of shit. It's not your problem. So real quick, and yeah, there's some people who disagree with me. They actually agree with me in certain areas. I like that. That's kind of a good thing. At least we can be civil about that sort of thing. Now, one thing I'm gonna at least say to people on the other side, can we like to the left side? Can we stop bringing up the comparison between Hitler and Trump? Seriously. Yes, I get Hitler was pretty much his own kind of leader in a way in 1930s and kind of almost the same position of power as Trump would have been, but Trump never committed genocide as far as I'm concerned. So can we stop bringing that comparison? Come on. Again, it's like, come on. So what I want to say to you guys on the right side is that can we at least be civil about that sort of shit? I mean, that's kind of a little bit of pot calling the black on my end because I was somewhat kind of a jerkish area, but at least I kind of recognize that, hey, I can be civil about certain things. We don't need to be going at each other's throats. Again, I may have screwed up the context at the very beginning, but that doesn't mean that we can't, agree and disagree, civilly. Come on. Why can't we do that? Why can't we at least be civil about it? Well, because it's politics. That's the unfortunate side of things because friendships get lost, certain affiliations with people get cut off because someone believes something differently than the others, and they all got to point fingers. I'm just going to tell you right now, just because something comes from .gov or whatnot, again, doesn't mean I got to believe shit. Okay? I could say the same exact thing about Obama. They could write the same exact shit from Obama that he's done pretty much all this massive other shit. Doesn't mean I have to believe it. Could you show the fluctuation of percentages and numbers between the stock, poverty, racial crime, and all that other shit? I would love to see that. Hell, I'd be willing to take back some of it, okay? If I could see the statistics. All I saw was this, and this. No percentages, no pie charts. I'd be willing to go back to it if I want to, which I could do that pretty much after the stream, but. And Hillary Clinton, oh my gosh, again, it sounds weird, but I would actually trust someone with more of a shady tax history than someone who actually had deleted emails regarding pretty much the nation's, top priority secrets that are not supposed to be leaked. At least I could trust more of like a possible fraudster over someone who is pretty much close to that regards and suspicions of what, espionage, whatnot. I don't know. And thank you, Raul, by the way. And thank you for coming on the stream. I do appreciate that. And again, even if I was wrong about Trump, again, I'd be willing to take that back. And I like to respect other people's opinions and shit like that. But again, to certain regards, to people on the right, they want to come off and just preach everything as if it were a fact. Again, how could there be a booming economy again when we have a huge fucking tax raise? And the fact that many other companies and jobs are not there. Oh, and because we have manufacturing jobs, again, it brings me back to all these other things about a certain amount of corporations that are not there or non-existent anymore because so-and-so. You have variables that pretty much contribute to that. So. Yeah, any side can be preachy. Again, I know I've been speaking mostly about the right, but I could tell you, and like I said, no disrespect to Mark Hamill and no disrespect for people on the left who've also been civil with me. This even goes to the left side, okay? You need to hold your horses, slow down. It may sound like I may be sounding like I'm kind of condescending and I'm kind of sounding like a hypocrite, but the difference is that I barely or rarely talk about this topic. I do. This is the first and last time you're going to see me talk about this because I've never done this for a live stream. And even if I had talked about Trump or Hillary Clinton and other live streams, it's probably probably less than a minute or whatnot. But this is pretty much primarily about that. So, do I agree with some of the things Trump has done? Well, the stalemate ended with North Korea and South Korea. Yes, I agree with that. Good on Trump. What actually just came to mind is that I actually think that maybe Trump could have been good as an international diplomat. He could be doing that. That's fine. Even as a businessman, I think he has good qualifications as an international diplomat. He could do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But in certain regards of business, the whole tariff break too, which, I'm not going to get into that because that's just a complete mess. But I don't agree with the fact that he claims, or what other people claim, is that he defeated ISIS when, sorry, you still have groups from ISIS still going around and causing mischief, muckery, and all this other atrocious bullshit on the other side. So until I see actual people from the other side saying we're free, I'm not buying it. And I agree. I agree with what Lemmy said there. I don't think it would have been any good if the Democrats actually took control of that situation in regards to that. So again, the one thing that I will give Trump a major thumbs up for is for that situation. As for ISIS defeated, no, you need to finish that. Okay, they ain't defeated unless they are actually defeated. Unless I see an actual point of view from other people from the other countries out of that sort of shit, I'm not buying it. Finish what you started is basically what I'm saying. Booming economy, bullshit. There is not, this economy is not fucking booming if you're going to raise the taxes on middle and lower class people. And that's another thing right there. That's the one thing that I will say that they kind of pertained on is that for someone affiliated or in ISIS, at least they're taking the precautionary measures to make sure shit like that does not affect us. Now, for the whole wall thing, I agree with the whole closed border thing. That is me. That's my Republican side view of things. Okay, I agree with the whole wall, but I don't want my fucking tax money going to that shit. Unfortunately, I'd rather it go to a police force that know what the hell they're doing. I'd rather donate or pretty much have my taxes go to people like the to 911 emergencies, to firefighters, to people who do deserve a lot of recognition for that shit. Or hell, maybe new technology that could shape the world. You never know. But instead, it's going to a fucking wall. And again, Trump was not the first person to come up with this idea. Exhibit A, the Great Wall of China. So all I'm just going to say is that I agree with Mark Hamill that Trump should be removed from presidency. I don't think that it's a good idea, though, to have Hillary Clinton there, to have Hillary Clinton be president. Not at all. I actually want Bernie Sanders, in my own honest opinion, to run as president. If he can actually change, if he could tweak his little thing about free college and all this other shit for that Exhibit A little situation there about this free stuff and make it more realistic, because I do believe you need to pay for this shit, because that's how you get stuff rolling. This free stuff's not gonna. Even freedom comes at a cost. Okay, everything comes at a cost. You can't have everything in life for free. If you could tweak a little bit of that shit on, I'd be more than happy to, post Bernie's name all over social media. I would be more than happy to do that. If he's actually okay, that's another thing. If he actually is a little bit more of an SJW, though, that's where I'll be a little bit more hesitant for it. The one thing I could respect the fact, if he wants to be a little bit more open-minded about certain situations regarding the economy, regarding racial struggles, or regarding the fact that maybe our military needs to have a little bit more better backing, then I can be for that. But if he wants to just project SJW mentality, then again, I don't think that all three of them would be beneficial to the office for that. Find somebody else for that. I'll say that. So yeah, I'd be a lot hesitant if he was an SJW. So, but with that all said, while we're still on the regards of political aspects and shit, again, I'm actually gonna try to actually make my satire political run for president against Stetson. If I can get the chroma key thing working, then I can get started on that, because that's just the number one thing that I need to do to make that little political campaign video, and I would actually be started on that project in like no time. We'll see. I mean, I'm gonna actually stick by on that verdict of Bernie Sanders. But if he starts to really go into other areas like Clinton, then yeah, I'm really gonna highly question a lot of stuff. So a lot of aspects, a lot of political ideologies, and a lot of political perspectives. I'm just saying I would rather have another lesser than Trump and Hillary. It's what I'm saying. It's just what I'm going with. But again, hell, maybe if I'm over the age of 35, I should probably run for president. But then again, I don't know how to run a country. I can at least admit that. So hell, if I was a president, actually, I would actually be making a like a not a GoFundMe, but pretty much like say a fundraiser or whatnot, like a national fundraiser, you know, to go for one. And actually, no, that's another thing. If you want to be president and you want to actually find a way to make certain things work, if you want to find a way to feed the homeless, you know, feed the veterans or the homeless people, you know, pretty much underneath the lower class aspect, if you want to make a difference by donating to that, why not raise a charity or raise some sort of fundraising activity for your followers to donate to in that regards to helping people, to help things with poverty, to help things like helping the homeless, to help starving animals. Or maybe by funding this, maybe we can have a more secure kind of area. And just like what Rob Mendina just told me, helping stop famine, I'm sorry, ending world hunger, donate to a cause like that, have a presidency that pretty much contributes to some sort of fundraising or charity rather than take or raise taxes out of people. Why not start a fundraising? Why not do that? You know, help contribute to something better rather than take money away and then lower the taxes on the rich. And that's another thing I forgot to bring up, by the way. The economy boosting when you lower taxes on the rich. Yeah, that's another reason why I'm not going to buy that shit. I'm not going to buy that point against me because you think, oh, well, the economy is boosting because the 1% right now are thriving with, you know, lesser taxes while the middle and lower class are suffering. And I get it. It's not always about the middle class, okay, or the lower class. You got to think about all three of the branches. But again, when you take away from the people that make up most of the country, okay, you're 99%, okay, you got to realize that your 1% ain't shit to the 99%. That, in my own opinion, is where the true America is. The 99%. You may not be rich, you may not be thriving, you may not be making as much, or you may not be living in the moment. But to me, a true American, okay, doesn't discriminate for one, which I'm not making that claim on Trump. I am not. And I'm not saying that he's a racist. I don't want anyone coming into that conclusion, okay? What I just want to say in this regards, a true American does not discriminate to someone because of the color of their skin. They love their country. You don't have to be a patriot. You don't have to be patriotic to love your country. You can love your country, okay? And it's not just the country. It could be the people in it that make it feel like crap. What I'm just saying. And other aspects is that you care about the environment. You don't litter. You don't do all that shit. Because I've seen people who litter and they don't fucking care. And I've actually gone into people's faces about that. And a couple of times I nearly got my ass kicked. But you know what? When you see someone littering, by the way, don't be afraid to call it out. Okay? That shit pisses me off when someone litters. And a true American is not being afraid to speak your mind. Don't be afraid, even if you're wrong. Okay? I'm not saying that just because you're wrong, that means that's the way to go. But even if you're wrong about something, you at least have the courtesy to be like, okay, I'm wrong. I can pretty much own up to it. If I'm wrong, then I can own up to it. But me, don't be afraid to speak your mind. Don't be afraid. Even if you have the great possibility of being wrong. Because there's a thing about failure. You learn a lot from failure. Failure is the greatest teacher. And if I do fail, at least I learn. That's the lesson. If I'm wrong, I failed. And if I failed, I learn. However, in my own opinion, my own perspective, and no offense to anybody, no offense to anybody who respectfully disagrees with me, but in my opinion, Donald Trump, I feel, does not know how to run the country. I feel like he's a shady businessman. I feel like he's kind of making promises he can't keep. Exhibit A, ISIS. They're not all defeated. And Korea is not denuclearized. So I don't believe that for one fucking moment. And another thing, raising taxes for us and lowering taxes for the 1%, bullshit thing to do. My own opinion. And as a matter of fact, did we ever get Trump's tax record history? Anybody? Because I sure as hell didn't see it. Has anyone else actually seen it? Oh, that's Twitter. I'm going to go here. My bad. Okay. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure because I don't really go into areas of stats unless we're talking about production, job wise, or in stock, or in poverty level. Those are like the only statistics I've ever seen. I've never seen anything on tax record history, or I could just pretty much do this. Now, while I'm doing this, I want to also kind of put out, and if I'm wrong about this, then feel free to correct me because I believe, as much as I respect Mark Hamill on a lot of things, and I mean absolutely no disrespect because he seems like a pretty cool dude who has done a lot for a lot of people. And I even believe Carrie Fisher did a lot more for people than Donald Trump did, in my opinion. But what I'm going to say is that despite the fact that if Mark Hamill believes in gun control and I disagree with him on gun control, I'm not going to get malicious. I'm not going to get in his face about it because, for one, that's his own point of view about things. But in my own point of view, I think differently and I feel differently about it. But does that mean that I'm going to call him something that he's not or disrespect him because of something that we have a political disagreement on? Absolutely not. Okay? People that I know could actually believe in gun control, but doesn't mean that I'm going to call them out being because they're faggots or whatnot or they're something else. No, absolutely not. I'm not here to judge people based upon what they have any disbelief in as contradictory as to what I believe in. But again, I respect Mark Hamill's beliefs, though I disagree with some of his beliefs, but I will agree with him that I think that Donald Trump is not fit to be president, in my own opinion. And I'm speaking as a centrist and an independent. And while we're actually speaking in centrism here and independency, again, let me kind of like scoot the left and right thing over and tell you my own aspects of left and right. On the left side of my part of centrism, I support the LGBT community. I hope I said that right. If not, I sound like a fucking idiot. But I respect that they are people. I respect that they're people that deserve rights. They're people. They're American citizens. That is a person. Not anything lower than what we are, than any straight heterosexual male or female. Does not matter. They are human. See, and okay, I'm a little bit kind of like on the circle thing with the whole school shootings, because again, we've already had to talk about background checks. I believed, because in certain areas, maybe more people should reach out to someone that feels like they're inclined to. It sounds weird, but it's kind of like what Marilyn Manson would say to people. But this is more in regards to the whole of the Columbine, for Columbine victims. Like Marilyn Manson, for once, he said that he didn't say anything to the victims. He listened to what they had to say. In certain regards, I feel like if more people were a bit more understanding of somebody, of what they're going through, rather than picking on them. And that's another thing, because I feel like that also contributes to that. And yes, I do agree with the fact maybe they should have armed security patrol. We actually had armed security at a high school that I used to be in, which was in Texas. So I do agree with that stance. There should be security that actually should be armed to protect students. I do believe in that. I do believe in that strongly. That I do. See. Now, in the regards to this, because a lot of people are going to point fingers at video games, they're going to point fingers at movies, they're going to point things at of certain areas, but like, did we also think about like their peers, how they're influenced by their peers, maybe from abuse? If we got to take the time to maybe understand what the person's going through and we try to help them, maybe we could see a change. Bullying is one of those factors, that could happen, in certain regards. Columbine was an example. I mean, despite the fact that these two were mentally deranged from the Columbine shooting, like Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, they were picked on. People, like certain people, didn't like them. And mental illness, if we took the time to actually try to help someone from a mental illness, again, I think we would see a different result. I don't think that banning guns would solve the issue. And that's another thing that I actually really forgot, because it was also instituted that Donald Trump had also banned certain parts of guns from being sold, which my dad, he likes building guns. That's how I built my gun. But do you really think that taking that away is going to solve that? Because if another school shooting happens, or a shooting happens, and that actually happens to be a gun that actually consisted of parts that was banned, I'm sorry to say, but I don't think that would be working. But so far, I can't say anything on that matter. Because again, even if you ban a gun, if the same thing happens with the same exact gun that was banned, what are you going to blame now? Oh, because he had a silencer. Okay, let's ban silencers. Oh, but he still comes in, another person comes in with the same gun with a silencer. What are you going to blame now? Oh, he's actually got an extended magazine. Well, okay, let's ban the extended magazine. Is that going to solve it? No, another person comes in with an extended magazine with the same exact gun, or something with another gun with an extended magazine. Is that going to solve it? No, you're going to find something else to blame. Again, yeah, that's another thing. We have black markets. You need to you got to also focus on the black markets too, before you can really crack down on any serious situation. And this even goes for teachers and other students as well. Don't doesn't really matter. Don't bully people. Don't. I know what I'm saying isn't going to solve shit. But what I'm saying is, if we actually also found the time to lessen the bully area in schools, you probably won't see much of that shit happening too. Or for people, putting people through so much of a mental a heartbreak, or a mental instability. Because you'll see shit like that. And again, and I know this is a little bit of a hard subject, because there are other people that are they're too far gone. They end up becoming a lost cause no matter how much you do to it. But at least if you try to help that person out, you at least try to make that difference. So to answer a lot of other people's questions out there, no, I don't think that banning guns will solve the issue. I'm going to need my gun if someone tries to break into my house. Sure, I got a bat, but what if the guy had a gun? What good's a bat going to do if the guy can just shoot me? I can't just whack the bullet away. That's why I have two guns, an AR-15 and a Ruger underneath my bed. I have loaded magazines. So if someone tries to break in, all I got to do is put that clip in, load it, and there you go. That's all I got to do. So I think I pretty much said all I needed to say. Piers Morgan, I haven't really read much into Piers Morgan's opinion about that, but honestly, unless he's being really malicious about it, I really can't say I would be irritated. I mean, it is his own opinion. You know, I like to be a little bit more open-minded to certain people's opinions, but I'll wade into his and see what he says. But just depending on if he wants, it just depends on how he categorizes things. If he wants to say that people who believe in not controlling guns are a bunch of just fucking morons, I mean, that is his opinion. But if he wants to try to make that a malicious kind of opinion, that's a little bit of a different scenario. But other than that, I've pretty much spoken everything that I needed to speak about. Now, again, I've been kind of like running fast with words. I don't really know how to like calm myself down in terms of slowing my voice. So there's that. Okay, well, then that's another issue if he likes to interrupt people. Because if he's one of those little, if he's like, what's that word again? Not carpetbag, but there's another political term for that. Filibuster. If he wants to be an interrupting filibuster, then that's an issue. So, like I said, I'll read into his stuff. All right, so I'm going to end it off right here. I've spoken everything I need to speak out about. Again, I think Trump's a horrible president. That's my own opinion. Not really an issue for everyone to be offended about. I don't take back anything what I said. The only thing I really take back is the fact that I think I could have worded the context in Twitter a whole lot better. For that, I do apologize. I think what I really meant to say was that I don't agree with the fact that Trump is a good president. I think that he should be removed from office. I don't agree with the fact that Hillary should be in office. I like the fact that maybe Bernie should be in office, in my own opinion, with a little bit of tweaks with his areas of what he wants to get around to in terms of policies and certain bills and laws. And of course, that's also where we have checks and balances. So we have to also think about that. So anyways, I'm going to end it right here. I want to thank you guys for coming on stream. I don't know if it's going to be the next stream, but I'm going to try to have some guy 827 in here or Stevie. He did message me. He said he's actually he's okay with the fact of being on a stream. So I'm going to try to make that happen. So if he's okay with coming on, maybe tomorrow, I'll try to get that to happen. I'm also going to get back into video making like I do before, not just with rants, but with the project making. So we'll try to do something a little bit more productive in that area. Give the streams a little bit of a rest now and then, so that way we can kind of continue with more production. So I do appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you very much for making this a good stream. We'll try to at least get it out there a little bit more. Thank you, Raw Medina. Thank you, Lemmy is not dead. Thank you, Chelsea Courier, and thank you for anybody else coming in. Real quick before I end off, I also will try to make a Patreon for every video that I make in production. I'm thinking about the idea. If you'd like to donate $1, that's an idea to Patreon. I'll actually do shout outs in every single video featuring the name within that video. So I will try to do that if you'd like to. But the idea hasn't been fully implemented. So if you want to do that, if you're on board with that, just let me know. Anyways, I'm out of here. You guys have a wonderful night. Peace.